Hello, welcome to Podcast First Player, episode 190. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who can't stop thinking about Bruce Willis movies. I guess old habits, Pulp Fiction. Didn't see that coming, did you?
I didn't. No, that's great.
It's only bloody Dan.
It is. Bonjour. How you doing?
Buongiorno. I am fine and dandy. How are you?
Good. I'm all good. It's just coming towards the end of January already, somehow.
Yeah.
In 2021.
26, mate. 26.
Okay.
Just some bloody stinking news.
I've got a feeling I know what this news is, but I'm prepared. Absolutely prepared.
Daniel, a new Star Wars Knights of the Republic game is reportedly in development outside of
Rumoured.
EA. That's why I said reportedly.
No, but the way you say it, it's like it's been reported.
It has been reported.
As in... Yeah, but it's a rumour that's been reported.
It's a rumour that, according to multiple sources, including credited Star Wars Insider Bespin Bulletin, which states in a recent podcast...
that doesn't mean anything, though. Unless a company comes out and says, yeah, we're doing that, guys, then it's just... And especially as this has happened before, when it was still very much with EA, it's still a rumour.
Oh, so it's obviously 100% a rumour.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to level off my expectation and therefore excitement, because even if this does come to be, it's not going to be great, is it?
I mean,
it can't be.
There's no reason why it can't be. Why can't it be?
I mean, the best or the most compelling piece of information about that rumor, should it be true, is that EA aren't going to have anything to do with it. Which makes me think, oh, thank God.
I don't know, they handled Fallen Order well. I liked Fallen Order a lot.
How long did that take? About 12 hours, something like that?
Yeah, give or take.
So it's not bad for what it is, but
yeah,
with something like this, it needs to be a company that knows what they're doing with RPGs.
EA,
like BioWare would be...
Well, they published.
I was going to say they published it.
Yeah, but EA don't make any of the games for like Star Wars and stuff. They're all made by third parties.
No, but they're still they're very much the Fox of publishers. Yeah. Sorry, they're just sort of like, come on guys, we need to get this out the door. We need to get it out the door. How can we make as much money off it as we can, rather than actually care about the property itself? Hence why Andromeda is not as good as the original Master Chief.
Master Chief Collection. It's not as good as the Master Chief Collection.
Commander Shepard's. It is. Are you kidding me? Have you played the Master Chief Collection?
So
it's fine, mate.
And Andromeda's not as good as
Master Chief
Halo.
Collection. No. I'm saying the Commander Shepard's trilogy, like 1 to 3.
Oh no! I'm talking about Andromeda.
No. It's
Andromeda's not as good as Halo. Maybe Halo 5, because that's not great.
I haven't played that one yet, so I don't know.
It's fine. It's not Master. You don't play as Master Chief. That's why it's not part of the collection. But it's a.
Is that going to be on Game Pass soon? Because that's probably the only one I haven't played as of yet.
It's on Game Pass on Xbox as of day one of Game Pass, so I imagine it will be at some point. That other game's out today, isn't it? Medium.
Oh, is that today?
Today, I had a GeForce Experience update.
Yeah, I did see it's been like a coming soon thing on Game Pass for a while, but it seemed like it was sort of like an anime JRPG kind of deal, and I was like,
It looks quite interesting.
That'll do.
Looks quite interesting.
Control, I'm actually really, really enjoying.
It's fine.
It's like working in the X-Files building. It's great.
It's a good game, and it is, but it's nowhere near as. It's basically another plague of EA where we were shown a lot of stuff that isn't in the game, and it's gone. Look at this game release. and it's fine. I liked it. I didn't pay for it because obviously it's on Game Pass, so can't grumble.
Well, there's like the biggest issue I've got with it is straight away. This is a problem I've got with quite a lot of
shit
games. It's just that there's no weight to how the character moves. It's just like one of these ones where you could just spin on the spot.
Yeah,
and I thought we got out of that in like the PS2 era. Like, you play a Last of Us, you play a Spider-Man, like, the people feel real and they're weighty and moving through the world. Like, even Horizon, which I got the other day as well.
Horizon's fantastic.
It's fine.
I fucking loved it. So good.
It's I'm still playing it, so it is good. but I'm more interested in what happened to the world.
Yeah.
Rather than go, oh, I've got to go and kill another Watcher, and I've got to take a lens out to go and buy a bow. That's just, oh, fuck off. Just let me just. I want to just go cave diving like Tomb Raider.
Bear in mind though, that is Guerrilla Games' first game that isn't Killzone. That's
I love
all.
Killzone. Give me another Killzone.
No, I think Killzone's a really underrated series, but they've made Killzone, and that's it. And then they made Horizon, and considering how different style of games they are, I think they did a banging job for their first third-person open world.
It's good. I seem to have hit a bit of a difficulty spike though. I'm just getting my fucking arse handed to me. Like it just seemed, because like you came with the DLC as well, like the Frozen Wilds thing, and it was like, oh no, you've got to be like level 30 to go and try that. So I haven't done anything towards that yet, but where I've gotten to like the desert, there's like these fucking bird things that just keep on like, oh god, it's brutal.
Some of them really
like I can't help but think, yeah, and I don't mind like if it's just sort of like, because like the alligator things, like you know, sort of like pinning them to the ground and then like taking the armor off the blaze canister and then blowing that up and then like, sort of chipping away at them, that's fine. But then there's like, I've got to do an objective on a little island and there's like 6 of them watching it, and they're all higher level than me, and it's just fucking
it gets pretty hard. I remember the first time trying to when I first encountered a sawtooth, and I just get fucking annihilated fucking instantly. And then when you finally get the thing so you can not heal them but get rid of the darkness, make them good, and then you can like call upon them and stuff, and I couldn't ride it, so I was immediately pissed off. It's bit.
Well, I know I've got the override thing, so you can control.
Yeah.
But there's only a couple that I've been able to ride so far.
Yeah,
so
it's basically.
Ideally, I want to get up on one of the big bird things and fly about on it, but I don't know if
can't
that's
do
even.
none of that. You can ride the goat, the fucking goat, like the deer thing, and the horse. I think that's pretty much it.
No, there's a broadhead. It's like a big bull. You can ride around on that.
Yeah, so but I don't know, but I mean, like they're the kind of animals you can ride.
Oh yeah, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It's just that
I want to ride a sawtooth. I want to get on a bird. I want to climb up the fucking antenna thing. Ride around on that.
Yeah, maybe a second one. It would like increase the amount of stuff that you can actually piss about. The second
one's out on PS5 soon.
Well, hopefully not long before it eventually makes its way back to PC.
I mean, Horizon came out like 8 years later on PC, so.
No, but I imagine that it's just sort of like it's taken time to get us to that point. Yeah. But now that we are at that point and they're still making sales from it, well, maybe they're more encouraged to do so. But yeah, like Control's ace, like it's more the concept of it. And it wasn't until I started playing it, obviously, that I saw it was from Remedy.
Yeah.
Guys who made the original Max Payne, which is incredible. I think it was Sam Lake who actually wrote it from memory.
Did Remedy made Alan Wake, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they did that after Max Payne 2, I think.
That's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I still haven't finished that. Like, there's a lot that's
on Game Pass.
Up. That's where I've been playing it. That's the first time I've ever played it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bought it day one.
I wish I had done it. It's a very good sort of like, it's like a Stephen King game, basically.
Yeah, basically. That's essentially what it is. They've got big plans for like as a franchise, but I don't think it's sold very well. Reviewed excellently.
I think there's a terrible movie. I think either it's being made like in the sort of like the Far Cry, Silent Hill kind of genres of films
not so much
that are
Silent
terrible.
Hill, because Silent Hill was in like out the cinema, wasn't it? But the Far Cry one was like you'd find it in the bin in fucking I can't think of any shitty convenience stores, but that kind of thing.
Let's go.
No, because they don't really have like a bargain bin, do they?
No, I was joking.
I was thinking
like
shitty. Summerfield or something like that.
Summerfield, bloody hell! That's something I haven't heard from in forever.
Buy a packet of chocolate digestives and get Far Cry on DVD for free.
Yep, it is. It was written by Sam Lake as well.
There you
go.
You
can tell it's his
movie
story. No, the game. Sorry.
Right. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know there was a movie. I really didn't.
Oh no! I wasn't sure if there was. It just seems like the sort of thing that would have one. In 2018, Remedy Entertainment and Contradiction Films announced plans to develop a live-action Alan Wake series.
Like the Halo series. That's never fucking happened.
The group planned to shop around to networks in October. Laker confirmed the television show was still being developed during a December 2020 investors meeting. So potentially we might still get a TV show out of it.
I think it...
But it'll be like a Twin Peaks kind of...
It's got the elements there that could potentially make a good show. But...
Well, there was a show called Fringe that I absolutely love.
I remember Fringe.
There's not very many people that know about it or have ever seen it, but it's kind of like it's got an X-Files kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
But Control reminds me of that a lot, where it's just sort of like, here's a weird object that does weird paranormal whatever. I've just been able to levitate as well. That's a game changer. Just sort of like floating about and shooting people. Yeah, I mean, the Control, man, it does end up controlling you. I won't do it
Obviously,
on camera.
We'll have the feds round.
The Control Federal Bureau of Control, or whatever it's called. Fuck yeah, the box will have them round.
Did you ever play? We'll get back onto KoTOR in a minute, but did you ever play Quantum Break?
No.
With Iceman.
That's another one that's popped up on PC as well.
I'm pretty sure that's on Game Pass as well, I think, but
I
bought that. Oh, in fact, maybe not then. I'm pretty sure it's on Xbox Game Pass. I can't be bothered to look, but they did a similar thing where throughout certain points of the game it'd go live action and you'd watch.
Yeah, I remember that.
Stuff, and they had plans to kind of like incorporate that. So every week there'd be like a new episode kind of thing. It didn't happen, but it was fine. It was quite interesting seeing them go. You're playing the game, and then it's actually Bobby from X-Men. I don't know what his fucking name is. And all the characters, the models were really, really good, so it wasn't too jarring going from CGI to real. But then it's just like, would it have been cheaper to have just done cutscenes?
I don't know, it's probably quicker. Like, you get a camcorder and a few people and get them to just act a scene out in a room.
Yeah.
That's a few £100 maybe. That's
pretty much what they did. It's not like... obviously, it's higher budget than this, but it was. It wasn't. They definitely didn't have like red cameras and stuff. They were like potentially just like Sony cameras and stuff like that.
It would be like TV level, if not maybe some movie stuff.
Yeah. I'd say like CW level.
That's not a good bar to set, though.
Not. I'll tell you what. I've noticed recently. I know you don't watch it, Dan, but.
If you start talking about fucking rape, I knew it.
No. Like
any excuse
for
a
CW show. No, I'm not going to talk about it. It's about how it's filmed and stuff. You know, like season 2 of Arrow.
I mean, not off the top of my head. No.
Right. I still think. I mean, we stopped watching Arrow like a long time ago, but. Up to where I did get to, season 2 was filmed so much better than the rest of the other series, and I don't like it in Flash because it's very. I don't know if it's because Arrow's mostly in the dark that helped it a lot, whereas Flash is.
That's DC's whole thing, though, isn't it? Everything
needs to be
dark and smoky.
But Riverdale's is very. It's more stylized than CW shows deserve to to be.
Well, speaking of, actually,
yes,
we had a trailer for. No,
no, we can't talk about that yet. Oh, I know what you. No, go on. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted. I know what you're going to say now. It's fine. Go on.
Do you mind? Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
We had the very first trailer for teaser-ish kind of thing. There wasn't a huge amount to it. But it doesn't look like it's filmed like a shit CW DC show.
I disagree.
Currently, at least.
I think
it doesn't look
garbage.
great, but it doesn't look the same.
I hated every fucking second of it. I really do.
I disagree. I think it's fine.
But you liked Supergirl, though, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. Why did you make me watch it for then?
There were certain aspects of it that were fine, but I think it's suffering from, and this is kind of where like Netflix and Amazon and whatever, they've been moving away from this. It suffers from a 24 episode season. So it's just all filler and it's dragged out, and I'd rather you just put the money into 10 episodes that look fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about Superman, because he's got all the powers. He's going to be lifting things. He's going to be flying around. Like, all of that stuff is super expensive to make it look good. And that's why Supergirl failed quite miserably, unfortunately.
Because it was fucking garbage.
Yeah, like you need to put money behind it, otherwise it's not going to work.
There's a Corridor Crew episode, and they use Supergirl as like an FX thing to look at, like how did they do this? Does this look good? And for a lot of the stuff, they basically put her on a green screen, and then have like a green screen block that she lies on, and then they just kind of move the picture across the screen. And in action, it doesn't look too bad, but when you slow it down, it is literally just me going. It looks fucking awful, really does. But then they had like certain elements of somebody transformed. I think they took they injected them with subcells or something, and the actual transformation scene was really, really, really good. Like the camera zooms in on their arm, they got all like the veins are like getting really big and bulging as the skin like kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the actual transformation thing was great. And then the next shot, he's running through like New York or wherever the fucking hell it is, and it is again just essentially just going. Like it looks so
like
fucking bad. It really does. But South Park's the only show that looks shit, but looks better now than it did, even though it still looks shit. Do you know what I mean? Because it's the same animation, nothing's changed. It's just obviously they've got better at it.
Well, they're very good at making an animated show that looks intentionally bad.
And I think that's how they get away with it. Like, I can't watch an old episode of The Simpsons, say, because the animation's like really jarring. And
that's really
whatnot.
good point. Yeah, because that was obviously it was made to be as good as they could afford to make it.
Well, South Park's kind of done like in the week, isn't it? Like the animation process of South Park
it's like
is
over
really
a week.
fast.
Yeah, that's how it's always so topical and so relevant.
Yeah, because it has to be. They'd be behind the times, so to speak, if they didn't. And obviously, that's some of the reason why the animation was so fucking dog shit. Because it was like, well, there's no other way to do this
this quickly, like turn around. Yeah. But like and
it works in its benefit though.
There is, but even if you go back, because all of South Park is on Amazon Prime in the UK currently, and there will be huge amount of times that I will devote to just it's like Futurama's on there. Like I got to the point of
Futurama.
Well, this is it, right? Because I'd finished The Office for like the 4th time. I've started watching it again on Netflix now, for God's sake. I'm now like halfway through season 3 of that again. But I'd started watching.
Oh, is it not on? Is it not on Prime anymore?
The Office.
Yeah.
No, it's on Netflix.
Aw, that means I can't watch it on my Echo Show anymore.
I don't think it is anyway. To be fair, if it is, I haven't noticed it, but it's because I spotted it on Netflix. And I was like, maybe I'll start again from right at the start. And I was like, Christ, this is just.
Let's see if it's any different on Netflix.
It's just the UK Office, like right at the start. But yeah, like Futurama, I was like, man, I used to love that. And I didn't realise that there was like 4 seasons and then it was cancelled. And then there were 4 feature-length episodes, which I watched the last one of which last night, I think, actually. And then it sort of picks back up with the normal episodes from that point onwards. And I don't remember ever like watching it to completion.
I don't think I finished all of it.
No, and that's the thing. It's certainly not in order. It would have just been like the odd episode that would have been on BBC Two or whatever. So I started watching that.
Channel 4, actually.
Simpsons was on BBC Two.
Wasn't it? Channel 4 bought the rights to Futurama when it came out.
Ah, okay.
I hated it.
Ad breaks, fuck off. Yeah. But yeah, so I've been trying to pound through that again. But I'm also trying to get a mate of mine at work trying to watch Battlestar Galactica, which is also on Amazon, because it is so fucking good.
No,
like it is so good. Like Honestly, it's got like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm sure it has, but so
It's
does a lot
amazing.
of Star Trek stuff.
No, it doesn't. Are you insane?
That has to be something that's in the 90%.
Probably next gen, and that'll be about it. I reckon next gen, maybe the original series will be the highest scoring, but other than that, I don't think it would be.
I can't
Oh,
stand...
have a look. Let me have a look.
I reckon Next Generation has got 89%.
89. Okay, I'd say mid 80s. I'm going to say 84 because after the first couple of seasons, it's only good stuff. To be fair, what did you say?
89.
And was that
Next
audience
Generation.
or no, audience or critics?
Oh, fuck knows. Critics.
You're exactly right.
Really?
It's 89%. Audience score is 90%.
Oh, I said 91 originally as well.
Well, I think you saved yourself there.
This week's episode is brought to you by Veikk and the VK1200. If you're an artist, digital designer or editor, the VK1200 is a great addition to your setup, and using the 11.6-inch pen display monitor can increase your workflow and assist in making your work and content greater than ever. At just 8mm thick, the VK1200 is sleek and will fit alongside any setup, and the 6 programmable hotkeys make work easier and can speed up editing by a wide margin. As well as the pen display monitor, inside the box are 2 ergonomic and battery-free pens with 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, an artist glove and plenty of replacement nibs, making the VK1200 not only my choice of pen display, but also fantastic value. Visit Veikk.com or search Veikk VK1200 on Amazon, and don't forget to visit podcastversusplayer.com/review to see our full thoughts. Now, back to the podcast.
Okay, so let's have a look at... So Picard, that's one of the latest.
Picard will have 92%.
No.
Really?
Let's just say it's very split, apparently this is. So
50-50.
You're not far off with one of them. So critics 87, audience 56.
Ooh.
And I feel that is a bit low for it.
I thought Picard was pretty good.
It is pretty good, but I also wouldn't say that 87% is... right either.
Do you know why it's so mixed, Daniel? And why I disagree with those scores, and I think it should be in the 90s, is because it doesn't feel like a Star Trek show, which I think is why I like it.
But that's probably why the audience score is so low.
That's what I mean.
Because people are like, what is this? This is Picard.
We'll put it this way, Dan. Picard, Zoe really enjoyed. So if Zoe really enjoyed it, it's not Star Trek.
No, it is not.
And I really enjoyed it, but I'm a
Discovery
sucker for
is
Stewart.
Even more split.
See, I don't like Discovery very much. I have only seen a handful.
It's gotten better over the seasons. I'll give them that. So this is according to the critics. So these are the season-based scores. So season 1 was 82. Which I think is about right. Season 2 is 81. Season 3 is 90.
This is getting
season
better.
3 is probably the best one, but that's the thing in terms of like how Star Trek usually works. That's always the way. Like the first couple of seasons are always the weakest. No, I said only Star Trek.
No, this is the way. I was making a reference. Pop culture.
Not on my watch. If it's not from the 80s, I don't give a shit.
Game of Thrones.
So what about original? Lower Decks. Okay, that's another one you've watched.
That's coming to Amazon Prime.
It's already on there, mate.
Is it already on? All of it?
Yep. Not a weekly bullshit. They're going for all of them.
I am a little bit behind, so that works out rather well.
The last one's actually probably the best episode, I'd say. It's pretty cracking.
Really? I'll catch up with that.
But critics is 65, audience is 44.
Fuck off.
Now, again, that doesn't surprise me, but I don't feel that that's people saying it's not good or it's not funny or whatever. They're going, this isn't Star Trek. This isn't what it's about or whatever.
It's Family Guy, Rick and Morty, Simpsons, Futurama, Trek.
And that's the thing, because it's so kind of pop culture-y, and it's sort of like if you watched all of the shows, like all the way back, there's the odd sort of like quite good joke, or there'll be like an episode where it's hijinks or whatever, but it's not a comedy. in
then
any
they go to
way.
Sherwood Forest.
That's Q's fault. That's Q's fault. And you know what he's like, bloody prankster.
He's a little trickster.
But this is just all jokes all the time, and it's like people sort of slacking off and not really taking, they're all taking the piss.
Again, I think
it's
that's
just
why I like it.
But and that's fine, and that's the thing, because it's kind of like it's making fun of how serious the shows are, because it's just like to be in Starfleet, to be on one of these ships is the greatest honor, and you've got to hold your own. You've got to be the most honourable, bravest, courageous, whatever. And this is just sort of like, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I'll just sort of Skype off and solve some problems. Well, that's the thing. He's the person that's like voting them down or whatever, because he's like making his own little captain's log and he's taking it super seriously. And then you've got the other one who's like the more modern audience. Man, this is like a deep dive into the. We
should have done I know I've literally just said I didn't finish, but we should have done a why didn't we talk about Lower Decks?
I don't know. Like I think
really liked
I didn't watch it from the outset. I think it was fun and it was funny and there was plenty of Easter eggs and stuff like that. And it's not to be taken seriously because it's
a comedy,
but it's also set about something that doesn't have that kind of there's nothing like that in that whole universe. I don't think it's canon in that sense, but
I imagine there's some degrees of it that kind of where, such as Star Wars, which again we'll get back onto KoTOR, but
oh god, sorry, you got me started.
Like
now.
Everyone has said that Revan is canon because of because Darth Revan is referenced on the scroll thing, on Rise of Skywalker. So now he's canon. Is he really canon though?
Well, no,
because they just said a name, and that's the only thing.
There's also people that are called like Big Smigley. Like eventually, that name will probably roll around again at some point.
I will say though, there's an episode of I think it's Rebels. I can't remember Rebels or the Clone Wars that was cancelled. Like they cut it, but there is footage on YouTube, and
it was the Clone Wars.
And Revan's in it.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, you can see it's on
now,
YouTube.
I haven't seen it. Yeah. I literally read about it today because.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, honestly, it's because I was looking just to see if there was any more info about this Knights of the Old Republic thing, other than the rumours that we're already aware of. But IGN have got like a slideshow of like all of the Star Wars games that they've reviewed, which I think, from memory, was all the Star Wars games. Like every Game Boy Color one, Nintendo DS or whatever. Like, and they're all sort of like varied scores or whatever. But I think there was the one for Knights of the Old Republic where it said something about it's not canon, but it was mentioned in like a deleted scene in the Clone Wars. And I was like, I didn't know that. Like that they tried to sort of like extend that out. If they did that today, I don't think that would be deleted. Because that to me, that seems like it would have been done at such a time where they're sort of like, oh no, you're bringing in stuff that we're trying to deviate away from. We're not going to be. Now I think that like, with like how successful the Mandalorian's built, like I think it's only a time before we see like someone from a cult of Revan, someone says Revan or Malak or Nihilus or Kyle Katarn or something like that from something that's already been thrown out by Disney. I reckon it's only a matter of time. Maybe not the Mandalorian, but
they had
one of the other sort of newer shows.
It's up on YouTube. It's like pre-animation, so it's not finished animation. So it's all like grey and white and very rough, basically. But yeah, it's there. It's available in like the in the temple.
I'm going to keep a hold of that.
It's interesting. It's what I'm going to say. I did actually have a question that's not to do with KoTOR, so very, very briefly.
Go on.
Why do you think? And I know it's probably got quite good reviews, but I didn't like it. Why do you think Orville didn't have the same impact as Lower Decks? Because it's kind of the same kind of thing.
Well, I think it's like, so Seth MacFarlane is a huge nerd, basically, and like he's a big Star Trek. He's been in Enterprise. Like he was like he played like an engineer in Enterprise for like a cameo, like a throwaway line or something. So clearly he loves it, and he's had all the the original like next gen crew. Like they've been voices on Family Guy. Patrick Stewart's in American Dad. Like clearly he's a big fan, and this is just his homage to it. But in the same way of like, you know, all the talk about Quentin Tarantino directing a new Star Trek film and stuff like that, whilst I'd love to see that, I don't think that those two things go together very well.
No.
And like with Seth MacFarlane's like style of comedy, I just don't think it translates with that, again, sort of like bigger, epic-y kind of, you know, it's all, because you've either got to really take the piss out of it and like make it a complete parody, which Lower Decks just kind of touches on. You can't just have like Spaceballs. That's just a complete and utter parody of Star Wars, and it's so far removed from it that it works and it's funny. But the Orville, it's still seeded in the same kind of, you know, it's like it's humans and they're trying to outreach and they're being good and whatever.
It is just a funny version of Star Trek. Like there is like you got your serious elements in there and stuff and whatnot. Like even
it's all or nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. I think for what it is, it's basically like someone gave you a load of money and said, "Do you want to make a Star Trek show?" But I had to be involved in it, and I said the only way. So
it's like a comedy Star Trek designed by committee.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like everyone's kind of got their 2 cents. In
it's good.
Like because I really like Seth MacFarlane's work. Like
for the most
on the
part,
whole, like he's animated and film
like
work
Ted
and
very
stuff
much.
Like that. Oh no, I quite liked it.
The first one,
Ted 2, not so much.
the first one I liked. Well, it's fine. I wouldn't say I love it, but it's fine. I hate it.
But
okay,
it wheedled it out of me. But like I like his work, and I like the thing that it's clearly based on. Like it should, I should have loved it. And I remember watching 5-6 episodes, maybe.
I never finished. I never finished it.
I just don't think that it's because it's not committed one way or the other. It's not like a serious thing that's got some levity to it, and it's not a full-on comedy show. It just didn't seem to. I probably would have enjoyed it more if instead of being an homage, if that was like the Lower Decks equivalent.
Yeah.
So it's like we want to make it's set in the same Star Trek universe. It's all the branding, all the ships, all whatever, and we'll have some cameos from like old cast members and whatever. But it's all set in like the deflector control, like the most boring part of the ship, and it's just, you know, it doesn't have to worry about trade agreements and diplomacy and all that sort of stuff. It's just like, how are we going to scrub all the carbon scoring off his plasma manifolds? Like, it's a boring thing that you could make very funny, but you could still have all the kind of like Easter eggs and stuff like that. It doesn't all have to be life and death in space battles. But because it's not that, and it's still set about a captain and a bridge, but he's got his ex-wife as the commander and all that sort of stuff. It just feels like it could just be a sitcom set anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be in space. Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll come back to it at some point.
I'll forget about it
and give it another go. But it's but again, maybe it suffers from the same Star Trek related curse. You know, the first couple of seasons are not particularly great. But then after that, it just gets better and better and better.
Lit for another season, so I believe.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Like anything that he does, I was going to say Fox would, you know, they do whatever really, but it's not really up to
Disney,
them anymore, I suppose, is it?
Disney. Speaking of Disney, question, Dan. If this rumoured Knights of the Republic game is indeed happening, what would you rather? Would you rather KoTOR 3? Actually, no. Would you rather a remake, full 4K, everything done, 1 and 2, KoTOR 3, leading on from KoTOR 2, or KoTOR, but it's set in a completely different period?
Is the remaster like a tiding over point until they make another one?
So they've got this done, and they've gone. We know this is gonna sell because people have wanted this for fucking years. Like, if we can't have KoTOR 3, just give us a remake of the other ones. Yeah,
like a ground up
fully
remake, not just a polished
new models,
one.
New environments, everything. Yeah,
a Final Fantasy 7
even
remake.
if you just do like Battlefront 2 or Fallen Order graphics, Like, just make it look fantastic. But
if you're going to stop the fans and the community from doing it, like,
just do it yourself.
At least have a crack yourself, for God's sake.
But dependent on how it reviews, will depend on if we get another one or not, or they just come out swinging and take a gamble on a new one.
I don't think that a new one could. I just don't think it could live up to that level of. Like, I just don't. I don't think they could capture that magic again.
And do you know why?
I would much rather, because I would much rather that, rather than take a risk on a, if they went, oh, it's a Half-Life 3 thing, it's never going to pay off. And my expectations for them saying it's not a reboot of the originals or whatever, it's not a remake, it's a direct sequel to. I just don't think that, like, with how people make games and stuff like that these days, I just don't think that they would devote that much time and effort into building a game that's 40 plus hours that would have to look as good as something like Fallen Order. Maybe not that.
You still got to think
but,
within the realms of what can a computer run. Like,
yeah, exactly. There's so much to it.
Do you know what is pushing me more into the fact? This obviously could go really, really bad, and it could. That's a massive thing that could actually happen. But
and if it does, that will ruin the chances of anything else from that era coming back.
I lean more towards a remake, a full remaster, because we already know the game's good. They've got to change everything else. They can add a couple more
100%.
bits in if they want. So there's a few surprises. But no matter how bad and how much people didn't like Battlefront 2, even the first one, first remake, it felt like Star Wars. And like the battles and stuff, like it looks like Battlefront 2 still looks fucking amazing. It looks so good.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. Yeah, the sound design.
Just hearing TIE fighters in the pew 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 and lightsabers and everything, it feels amazing. Very generic game. That's its biggest downfall. If I could have that in an RPG, like, can you imagine KoTOR that looked like Battlefront 2? That'd be phenomenal.
I don't know, because it's sort of still, it's quite rigid, and obviously it's all turn-based.
It's a mixture, isn't it?
Combat and stuff like that. I don't know if
you can do turn-based or you can do real-time stacking. Oh, I really liked it.
I never bothered with that. Like, I like to set my moves as I'm progressing through the battle and go, okay, so that one's force, and you can pause time and change your move list and then switch to another person and set their moves and stuff like that.
I like
There's an element of strategy to it that I quite like, and I wouldn't want to. Yeah, but that's the thing. So, like with the Final Fantasy VII remake, as an example, obviously that was purely turn-based combat.
No, they changed it, didn't they?
You'd sit there, you'd have a thing.
In the remake, you can do both. So you can go Kingdom Hearts style and just go in like oh, the original. Sorry. Sorry.
No. So I'm talking about the original.
Yeah.
So in the original, it's purely turn-based. So in the remake, it's like a more Final Fantasy 15 kind of vibe, and it's a bit more fluidic, I suppose. So I don't know how translating something quite static and it still feels natural, but it feels like you accept it because of limitations of the generation. So you would go up to a guy, and then you would stack your moves. I want to play it now, like that's how compelling and good it is. But like the combat side of it, I don't go, God, this is aged horribly. Like this just doesn't feel natural anymore.
Yeah, it works.
It feels right for the game, and it feels right for that point in time. I just don't know.
I think they would just do a Final Fantasy where it gives you the option, so you can play the new one, all turn-based, or you can play it.
But that's the thing; it's not static turn-based like a chessboard. It's like
yeah.
you still
But then
run up,
then
and
you run back again.
Fight one-on-one.
It's like you just go up and go, and then. Woo.
Yeah, but that again, that
that's
would
that's
lose
why I
the
went in,
immersion like that if you did
just
it.
go in like what is the term? Just like free combat where you go in and like hit buttons. You got your heavy attack, your light attack.
But then that's any other Star Wars game. That's the Force Unleashed. It's Fallen Order. It's all of them. Like it was almost that seemed to separate it, because then there was like proper lightsaber clashing and stuff like that, and getting the overrun, because it's D&D rules. Like there's all these like algorithms running in the background to determine as to whether your hit
doesn't take you any less out of it,
you defend correctly,
because it's not as I mean, there are tactics in there, but and
it would be fine if it was purely a first-person shooter, which it's not. Like it's like if you're playing it to be like, obviously it gives you the option in 2 where you can be a smuggler or whatever. But if, as with pretty much, I don't think I've ever done a playthrough as anything other than either a Jedi or a Sith, because what's the point? I don't want to be Han Solo when I can have the Force and laser shit. Are you kidding me? But it just that sort of like just it'd be just so quick, and it would just be whacking someone with a lightsaber and nothing happening. Like if it was a case of if you hit them, they were dead, sort of thing, unless they had like multiple levels of shields or they could block. And like if it was something like that, I mean, it would have to be tailor-made for this game pretty much, or like kind of like the For Honor sort of like combat blocking system, but like a simplified version of it. So at least it looks like you're
never
taking
like
part
KoTOR
in
2,
these kind of
even though
lightsaber
KoTOR 2
battles.
is actually the, for lack of a better term, inferior version of KoTOR. Don't get me wrong, it's my favourite. It's 100% my favourite.
You wash your mouth
it's
out.
Buggy as shit, and it's not as polished. Yeah, I've got
Have
it.
you played the PC one? I think you find you're wrong, mate, because I've played through that game a bunch, and there's never been a single
look at
bug.
any review. Now, like
honestly,
15 years later,
seriousness, I've had a couple
it's
of
probably
issues,
fine.
like with UI or whatever. But when it came out, you mean? Oh, right.
I had it on Xbox first.
Well, I know I didn't play it. I got it on Xbox.
No, I don't mean. I got it before you. I didn't play the PC version for. I think I lived here when I played the PC version for the first time. But I don't love KoTOR because of the combat. I like it for the story and the settings and everything else. Yeah,
I agree with that, and I think that any sort of tried and tested good RPG maker, so a BioWare or an Obsidian could do that, because you're creating from the ground up. The sort of the general hits, the Force, computers and hyperdrives or whatever, but other than that, fill your boots. But the combat just felt very unique to it.
It did, but I think it's also because of limitations. That's the thing. Yeah.
I think that without that, you'd lose an inherent part of what makes it kind of quite interesting and quite good. I mean, I don't know, because honestly, if they decided to do a third one, because if they did a remake, it would still have to be that. Like, you couldn't take that away from it. If they did a third one, though, because I can't think of another game that's been released in the last 10 years that has combat like that.
Don't think so. Don't think I can think of it.
There might be something similar, of course, but nothing that
unless you
played
count
or that go, oh, this
KoTOR 2 on Android that was released the other week.
No. But
actually, I think a lot of mobile RPGs have the stacking system.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
But again, that'll be down to limitations.
But if you're doing a AAA console PC release, would people these days think, what is this, and why have you put this as a? Would that be an obstacle?
That'll be why Square Enix did the choice, like, because you're going to have your Final Fantasy VII elitists who was there from the beginning.
I would never play it other than it's turn-based. You're facing each other, and then one attacks, and then one attacks.
I didn't even think about it. I went, no, turn-based, get out. Like,
really?
Yeah, I love Kingdom Hearts. It's nice and fluid.
Forget it. I don't want all that sort of flipping about and shit. Forget it.
And
just attack. Whoever attacks the most or quickest wins or whatever. Like, give me that any day.
So I like. I still like turn-based stuff like Pokemon. I don't think Pokemon would work
like
as
a masher, sort of.
Yeah, they tried it with Pokken Tournament, which is a really good fighter, but that's just like, well, it's Tekken, but it's Pokemon, hence the name Pokken. But it doesn't feel right because it's not, and the whole point, even in the anime, it's Pikachu used Thunderbolt, that guy used this, Pikachu used this, and it's all turn-based even in the anime. So not quite to the same degree, because there's a lot of times where they get to do like 3 turns in a row. And you're like, hey, can't do that in the fucking games. But what I would like to see is, do you remember the episode of Pokemon when Ash fights Brock? So it's obviously a really early one.
Yeah, the amount of Pokemon episodes that I've watched. Probably when I was about 13, man.
Yeah, actually, like yesterday. But I did. He wins because Pikachu sets off the sprinklers. And I should what?
But that's like an environmental assist. That shouldn't count as
that's what I want in the games.
Right. But this is the thing, though, because like, half of the it's kind of like the RPG experience, I suppose. But you feel yourself becoming more powerful as you go. You unlock unlimited power. Exactly. That's the point you want to get to. You want to be able to go into a room and just force, and just they all die. Like, that's the point you get to in the old KoTOR games. But if it's like a sort of like a Force Unleashed, you've got like a billion swingy whiz stick combos, like you'd always feel like you're as powerful.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, God of War's a game that did it really well, and even though Kratos is obviously ridiculously powerful, you still felt weak in a lot of instances until you leveled up more and learnt more stuff and whatnot. Whereas the old God of War games, you kind of just felt really strong regardless. Like, you would take it down fucking Zeus and you would take it down Hades, and then you go into a room and you'd have like 15 people come in and you just fucking spin around for a bit. And I compare, this is a really bad comparison, but bear with me. So God of War Originals is the Force Unleashed, whereas it's just like, look what this guy can do to all of these people. Whereas God of War 4 technically, but the reboot is Fallen Order, where you are a very powerful person, but you've got to earn it and you've got to progress through a story in order to actually get there.
But that's the thing, I didn't feel that Cal earned.
No, that's what I mean. It was a bad comparison. But in terms of Star Wars, that's all we've got.
Yeah, and I do understand that, because like in like KoTOR 2, you start and you've got amnesia and you've got a sword and you're just sort of struggling with robots. Yeah. And then it gets to the end where you're choosing for this 25-year-old game, but it gets to a point where you're in a civil war that you've kind of helped start, and you can go into a room and level 3 force lightning, and it will just hit every person in that room, because if you've done it right, your stats are high enough, and they all die, and you're just like, fuck me. Or when you there's a part where you go to the
that's on the ship, it's all burning down.
No, this is on one of the planets.
Oh no, that's after, I apologize.
But then you still feel like you could get shit kicked, when you go to Malachor or Mandalore, say, and there's Mandalorians there, and there's just tons of them, and they can just absolutely batter you because they're so powerful. Like it does give you the sense of you have progressed.
Yeah.
And there's not many games like instead of progression in terms of like feeling like you can achieve more things, or like it just feels like you're just unlocking new perks. Yeah. Which is fine in Far Cry or whatever, but I don't know. It just I don't get the sense from I don't play a huge amount. I suppose. I mean, I try to expose myself, to as many sort of new-ish types of games as I possibly can. But I don't know. There's I personally now that if it is taken away from EA, if this rumor turns out to be true, I'd have a lot more faith in it than if they were involved in any way. And it just depends on what I would rather they say is that yes, we are going to make a brand new one, but that is going to take time to get it right. Yeah, because we know we can't fuck this up.
It's not going to be so. Like in the meantime, thing, is it?
Oh hell no. I mean, if this is just a rumor at this point, then that's before someone's even accepted that task. But then, if they said, "Look, here's in a year's time or 2 years' time, we're going to remake and then re-release the original two, and then 2-3 years after that, that's when the third one will come out."
Yeah,
I think people will be on board for that.
Yeah,
just to buy them some time. But you've got the original two that you can play through again. I did see something, and I've tried to find it again since, and I haven't been able to. But because as part of this rumor, they said that it was a studio that you'd never suspect.
That's literally what it says.
Yeah, and I did see somewhere that it was Activision. Like, has there been a tick? Did she think that we can't see her? No, it's just a video of her ass.
She walked in and saw all the lights on and stuff, and she went, "Ooh."
Yeah, and then all she did was crawl into shot.
Bearing in mind, we filmed here Sunday. We did some game modes, so she knows exactly where all the camera hasn't moved. On that, we are going to wrap that up. Okay. We're going to have a proper catch up after the podcast, and we're going to talk about Kong versus Godzilla, or as the movie's called, Godzilla versus Kong.
That's not the way we prefer to say it, though.
Yeah, because Kong's a fucking badass.
Well, I have got a theory about that.
As have I.
As to what might happen.
I'm going with Mecha Godzilla.
Yes, that's exactly it. Godzilla, Kong is going to beat Godzilla, and then Godzilla will come back as Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, it has to, because then that way, the whole thing with the teaser of one will fall or whatever, you can absolutely stick to that and say, yes, Kong did beat Godzilla because he stabbed him or whatever, but that doesn't mean that we're never going to make another film without Godzilla in again, because they just go, boom, Mecha Godzilla. Time travel. Fuck it. Clones. Let's just make a clone. Why not?
He's Darth Vader.
But it's the same thing. If Godzilla beats Kong, then you go, okay, well, we found another one. Or we cloned him. But there's
so many different differentials, because in order to watch this film, you need to suspend disbelief, rather than making up words.
Yeah.
And it's a giant gorilla fighting a weird dinosaur reptilian thing that can shoot fucking laser beams and everything else. So if you're going into this and you sit there and you go, "Well, this is not very realistic," is it?
Like in the last one, don't forget that he tore through a whole bunch of monsters and someone detonated a nuclear warhead next to his head, and that didn't kill him, it just supercharged him, and he became like nuclear Godzilla or whatever he was called then, to beat Ghidorah. But I just want to, I do think that they need to step into the more silly side of the whole Godzilla franchise.
They just need to embrace it. It's
your
no
Jet Jaguars,
fucking way.
It's like, Baby Kong and all that kind of stuff. Baby Godzilla, sorry.
Yeah. There's so many different ways they can go. I mean, they tried it with the first new Godzilla with Bryan Cranston, where they made it like like tense, like Jurassic Park was, where you didn't see any dinosaurs for quite a big chunk of the beginning of the film, and then it was the same kind of thing where Godzilla was more like teasing it, and it's like, ooh, it's a bit tense. But the second you see him, it's not very tense because it's not realistic, and that's why I really like Skull Island. Where
Skull Island it's the only one I think that's actually got like a proper story to it.
It has, but because they've gone. I mean, it's a big gorilla on an island. Like, let's just fucking go with it. And it turns out he's smaller. He's one of the smallest of his species.
At that point, like he seems to have grown exponentially now because there's just a part in that where it's Godzilla stood on an aircraft carrier next to Kong, who's also stood on an aircraft carrier, and it just clocks him in the head. And I was like, what is this film? This is insane.
Animation on it looks real good.
Oh, so good.
It looks really, really, really good.
Like, I think that there's, honestly, at this point, it's kind of surprising that they haven't done Mechagodzilla or, like, Mechaghidorah as well. Like,
there's plenty of time.
That's what they did at the end of King of the Monsters. The Charles Dance villain dude, they got one of the Ghidorah heads.
Yes.
So, clone yourself a cheeky Ghidorah, maybe. So you have Kong and Godzilla beat the shit out of each other for 25 minutes, which would look incredible. Please don't do it all in the middle of the sea. Don't do that. Just put them in the middle of a city, and I want it untold levels of destruction.
I do think it's going to be a Batman v Superman.
They'll fight and then they'll team up.
Yeah, now we need to team up.
Well, considering
they won't say that.
No, they'll do the Arnold Schwarzenegger like fist. Yeah. Predator thing. Yeah. But because what's her name from Stranger Things is still in this one, like her
Bobby
Brown. Yes.
I said Bolognese.
So there's like her family or story or whatever is actually carried over, because as of yet none of the other ones have. So like the kid from Kick-Ass, whatever his name is, Aaron Aaron.
Quicksilver.
Oh, it was him. Sorry, yeah, it was, wasn't it? Not bloody Kick-Ass. But
it was Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is Quicksilver.
Really? Wait, which Quicksilver? From
Pietro.
Ultron.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But Scarlet Witch is in that as well, isn't she? As his wife.
Sister.
No.
Pietro and Wanda are brother and sister.
No, in Godzilla.
Oh, in Godzilla.
Yeah. His missus is Elizabeth Olsen. I'm almost 100% sure of it.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is, I'm going to double check, but I'm pretty sure it is.
It doesn't
but
ring a bell.
His, like, their story, their, like, lives or whatever, they didn't cross over into the next film, which would have been Skull Island. And then when you get to, what's it called? King of the Monsters. Mm-hmm. It's Millie Bolognese's like it's like their little family unit. That's the story, and them and Charles Dance. But in Godzilla vs Kong, they are still there. Yeah, which means that like, so what happened with Charles Dance getting the Godzilla head, the Ghidorah head? Maybe because they're sort of like dead, like they're like, oh no, the world's got to be wiped clean by these monsters, so we can all start again. That's how we're all going to survive. So if Kong and Godzilla are kicking the shit out of each other, and then his weird eco-anarchist group go, hey, we've made Mechaghidorah, which is a thing from Godzilla lore, just so you know. And then they have to team up to take down Mechaghidorah. Like, that is just...
I can see that. So
the culmination of this whole...
It's got to be something like that.
It'd have to be, right? Just something absolutely bonkers. Yeah, it is Elizabeth Olsen.
I don't know. I mean, I've only seen it once, so saying that.
Well, considering the point of that film is this is a new Godzilla. This isn't Granddaddy's Godzilla. This is a proper Godzilla. He's on screen for like 10 minutes.
That's what I mean. It's all it tries to be really tense and.
It's because it's all from it's from the ground up, isn't it? So it's it's how would you what would have
but
when you look at like Skull Island, he's like, oh, okay, well, I care about like the Sam Jackson character and the John Goodman character.
I didn't care about Sam Jackson's character in it. I hated Samuel L. Jackson in it.
But you were meant to.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was the point of it. It was just
sucked in.
It was just a typical villain trope where they're like, we need to kill this guy. No, stop attacking him and he won't do anything. He's just defending himself. No, we need to nuke this guy. No, just don't attack.
Yeah, but it's because he's killed a bunch of his men.
Yeah, because you're on his island.
It's just like...
Leave him alone.
Yeah, that's not how any... Like, this is like in the 60s or 70s or whatever. Just after you completed Vietnam, the game, and then you go to Skull Island, the DLC, and it's just like, oh no, this isn't a fight you need to have. Like, it's just leave that big giant gorilla alone, and you'll be fine. You'll be like, no. I've just come from war. I want another war, and I want a war with that motherfucker. And it's just blew up a couple of helicopters.
I don't think there's anybody that would go, I want to fight that gorilla.
Sam Jackson
as big as King Kong or regular size.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a one-on-one, I don't think you'd get too far. But like when you drop in napalm and stuff, like you're out thinking that problem. That's great.
But it was a case of they tried all that stuff, didn't fucking work. Don't keep trying. Just go. Nah, you're
trapped on an island with a giant gorilla who's pissed at you. And if you haven't got him to deal with, then you've got those Death Stalkers, what they're called, with the weird skull monster. Like everything's a monster that wants to eat and kill you on that island.
Do you remember the King Kong game? From the
I've got it.
Thing.
The Peter Jackson one. Yeah, I've got it because there's 10 levels, and if you complete each level, you get 100 gamer points. So that game is like 4 or 5 hours long or whatever, and it's 1,000 gamer points guaranteed.
Absolute noob.
I did not buy it because of the game score thing that I found. I bought it because it was a King Kong game based on the film King Kong that had Jack Black in it.
Game. All things considering, for a movie
the part when he
game,
plays Kong is fine, like when you're beating up dinosaurs or whatever. But when you sort of like first person Tommy gun shooting, I don't really give a shit.
It was fine.
But for all those gamer points, mate, that was at a point in time where people cared about that shit.
What do gamer points make, Dan?
Gamer prizes.
No, losers. Right, so if you want to check out more podcasts, Let's Plays, animations, game shows, and more, head over to the website, which is www.podcastversusplayer.com. Check it out on YouTube. If you're watching this podcast, that means the videos work this week. If you're not watching it and you're just listening to it on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, check out the video. It's fun. You get to see us laughing at each other and me annoying Dan because there was a shadow I was trying to get rid of. It's great. And if there's a click and a clackering, you can see what it is. It's the dog. It's over here somewhere.
One-eyed bloody dog.
If I was going to say, if I haven't edited it out, you'll see Zoe crawl up across the floor.
No, that has to stay.
I'm going to keep it in.
But now we turn to our coveted section of the podcast, Callum. As you well know by now, what is that?
The Enterprise.
No.
I can't see what you're pointing to because your arm's disappeared. So I'm assuming you...
I'm not pointing at anything because my fist is closed, so...
That is a Star Trek ship.
Correct. So far.
See you later, everyone. It's got an S in it, hasn't it?
No.
Oh.
I'm not looking for the name necessarily because there's been several of these types of ship. It's the type that I'm after. That is a challenge, sir.
A Discovery.
No.
What's it begin? Can I have a letter? What does it begin with?
You can have a letter. It begins with an N.
A Navigator.
No, but think more.
That's a ship, though, isn't it?
The Navigator.
Normandy.
Yeah, that's from Mass Effect, mate.
No.
Same kind of thing. It's in space, but.
I thought a Navigator was a class of ship.
No.
No.
Not that I'm aware of, at least.
No, yeah, you obviously don't know as much as I do.
Apparently, yeah.
No.
Think more cosmic. Yeah, more cosmic.
The Neptune.
The cosmic thing. You're on the right kind of track. It's not planetary,
Nebula.
but it's a Nebula class starship. Excellent work. I very clearly gave you a clue.
Don't finish that sentence, Dan, because I'm going to cut this bit out to go, what's that? Okay. And I'll go, Nebula.
Well, I'm very impressed. Well done.
Got it. To be fair, I got it quite quickly. I know you gave me.
I'm sure there'd be a name on it, but I don't think I can read it.
No, I definitely can't read it from here.
Let's just say it's the USS Nebula.
They are. So I did have it. There was an S in it.
I don't know if you know how Nebula is spelled.
USS Nebula.
Unless you took. Yeah, well, they've all got USS at the start of them. That doesn't count.
That's why I said it.
Oh, right, okay. Is there an S and it's like Family Fortunes and a U? Yeah. Like every week you'd get USS at the top. You're like, dang it, I don't know. Have a clue, please, Bob.
I'm so close. It's got an N in it. Hey, I'm quite impressed with myself.
Again, there's not really. Sure, well done.
USS Nebula.
Well done.
Saw it here first, peoples. The new ship.
It's one of my favourite episodes of Next Generation. It's got a Nebula class and it's great.
It looks quite cool.
Maxwell, Benjamin Maxwell, he sort of like goes on like a renegade.
He sounds like a coffee tycoon.
He's actually an actor that you'd recognise from stuff as well. He's like, you know, one of those sort of like rare occurrences when you've got like a named actor
like
that you recognise. Not that famous, I don't think. No. I can't remember his name.
He was in Star Trek.
In other things. He was in Star Trek Voyager. He and Seven of Nine had a battle.
They did, like a gladiatorial thing.
You're absolutely right, yeah. I'm pretty sure you know that because I told you about that.
No, I definitely...
Because I was talking about like Christian Slater and Kelsey Grammer and everyone else.
Bryan Cranston was in Power Rangers, not the new movie, the original Mighty Morphin.
I'm pretty sure he's
Zordon in the new film, but...
Oh yeah, I know who Bryan Cranston is and who he is in Power Rangers, the new film, but I'm pretty sure he may have actually popped up in Star Trek at some point as well.
Wouldn't surprise me. Been in everything.
It's one of those things that at some point in people's
But you think though, when like even The Rock, like when he was in Star Trek, he wasn't as famous as he is now.
I doubt he would have. Like he may have done like The Mummy or something maybe by that point. This has been sort of like late 90s, early 2000s.
Cranston, I wouldn't even say.
I don't know what he like what would have made him like a big mainstream name. Like what would have been his big break, other than wrestling, obviously. But
Fast and Furious.
Mate, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but
he's been around longer than that.
No, he has. But he until he started making proper films, he was still like the guy that was in wrestling.
Yeah, or maybe that's it. Maybe it's just sort of like he was a popular wrestler at the time.
Yeah, he was super popular.
And like the casting people were just sort of like, hey, do you want to do a bit of wrestling on Star Trek?
Because like even like if Bryan Cranston was in Star Trek, don't forget like Malcolm in the Middle probably wasn't even on at this point, so he would have done like King of Queens and stuff. But,
big parts.
Yeah, so even if he was in it, and we look back and go, "Fuck, hey, it's Bryan Cranston," at the time, nobody would have really, save for a handful of people, they wouldn't have known who he was.
That's probably true. Yeah.
I think that's true for a lot of bit part characters that show up in stuff like not just Star Trek, but like, I mean, there's a lot of people that are in Friends who are actually really famous, but because they're famous for like voiceover work and stuff, nobody knows who they are.
You're not going to believe this, right? So I'm looking at his IMDb at the moment.
I was in Star Trek.
In 1994. Can you even believe it? So obviously it's like all of his like WWF WrestleMania stuff or whatever. He did one episode, so I'm assuming again like a bit part kind of thing. He did one episode of a TV show called The Net, which I've never heard of, so I'm assuming it's something that didn't succeed.
I think it was only available online, wasn't it?
Very good. That was in 99, and then in the year 2000, his next thing was Star Trek Voyager. So that, other than and then The Mummy Returns in 2001.
So that was after. Wow.
Yeah. So other than WWF, the first big thing that he would have been in is Star Trek.
I don't think.
How mad is that?
I don't think he can owe his career to Star Trek.
No, but I mean,
that's weird though.
like,
that was the first port of call from.
Yeah, so it's not like
wrestling.
it was sort of like he was like a famous name that they called it, like when they get Stephen Hawkins or Kelsey Grammer.
But he was still like super famous. He was like
in the wrestling world.
Yeah, but
he not in the mainstream.
He was a wrestler that like he was the equivalent of
Cross the
Hulk
boundaries.
Hogan, where
so even people who didn't know about it.
Yeah, they knew who he was. They all knew what The Rock was cooking, and
that's true. The catchphrases and the elbow and the games and stuff like that's wider reaching, I suppose, isn't it?
Man,
but I'm pretty sure he did the eyebrow in the episode. He might have even done. No, I don't have that much facial control, except beard, obviously.
I can only do one side.
You can only do the one.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did the eyebrow. But
was it proper as well? Like
it would have been like a proper mug to camera kind of deal, 100%. Like he probably, if he did an elbow, then that was the reason that he was on there. It's because of the casting people or the writers like
so good.
him as a wrestler or whatever. Yeah. But you know, everyone gets their breakthrough Star Trek.
He's tiny back then, though, wasn't he?
He was there.
Tiny when he was a wrestler.
I mean, comparatively now, when he's just like bigger than any human being who's ever lived before him.
You're wrong. When he was wrestling, he was a big guy. But when you look at him now, it's basically me.
It's
now.
muscles on muscles on muscles. That's you, isn't it?
Can't tell you, mate. But anyway, we're gonna go because I need to go oil up my muscles, and Dan's having a coughing fit. So
I need to oil up my throat. Apparently, Jesus. What I'm going to do though is I'm probably going to watch that episode of Voyager now, and if like, because you know, like when I'll take a picture of an episode of Star Trek that I'm watching because something interesting happens or a famous person shows up,
and it ends up in my phone gallery
without any context usually. If he does the eyebrow or the elbow, I'll send you a little clip of him doing it to be like, that's the reason he's on this bloody show.
Absolutely. Right. On that delightful note, we are going to go. If you stuck around to the end, I hope you've learned something new about The Rock. And stay tuned next time for we're going to make a segment. What's The Rock cooking?
What's The Rock been doing?
And we'll have a look. But anyway, we're going to shoot. So thank you very much. And see you on the next one. Bye.
See you in a bit.
No, fuckers. No! Ooh, oh. Ooh. All your fault, Zoe.
That's not bad. Oh, I like that skeleton one.
Shut up and just go.
I want it.
Do not. If you fail this, you're never allowed to do another video. Oh no, I failed.
Knocking everyone else in. Oh! Oh!
See? Told you.
Get the fuck up! Do you fucking climb?
Just use the fucking things! Fucking hell! Oh my god.
Why is it people are at the end already?
Because you're fucking about trying to climb!